ladies and gentlemen, my name is Abe Watchin, and you're watching a very special Abe Godspeed.
Right, do you guys want to ask us any questions? If you do, oh, do we have someone? Let's see. Oh yeah, I can see you. Okay. Trials and tribulations of being short. Go for it.
Who is the hardest character to make and why?
That's a really good question. I think depending on what part of a character you're talking about, it can be a different character. So for instance, if Nigel were here, he's an animator on the team, he's really a passionate Marvel fan. He did Hulk's super move like 9 different times, and he got so frustrated with it, frustrated with probably me, that he compiled a video of every iteration of that super move.
It became a running joke of how many times Nigel's going to redo this super move. Because we do it in a very cool way, and then we'd have kind of new input to designs, like, oh, and then we'd have new input to our, and what we could pull off with our rigs and models, like, well, we wanted Hulk to be able to grow, but we didn't want to just be able to scale him up uniformly, and then we added the technology where we could scale up his arm, and then his other arm, and different parts of his body at different times, so that kind of necessitated redoing a lot of stuff. And, but in the end, that was a challenge, but it was really fun.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, as a programmer, I know that for me, one of the toughest things was wall crawling. Just because, I mean, you're crawling on the walls, and especially Spider-Man, he can crawl like upside down and around corners and everything. It was just a really tough problem to solve, and took a lot of work to get it in there.
Yeah, I remember that. Does that answer your question? Thank you guys. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Next, yes, if you guys have questions, come up to, oh, we have 2 mics. We'll go to this mic first. What's your name?
David.
Cool, what's your question?
I was just wondering, do you feel like you did a good job at keeping all of the characters relatively on the same level, or do you feel like there's one character that's a little more overpowered than the others, either like right as you begin, or like when you're done leveling them up?
That's a very good question, and so it's a really hard thing to kind of to balance it. And our focus is primarily on the cooperative experience. I think that as we move forward, we probably will focus more on balancing the competitive experience better. But you know, in Toy Box, that's a pretty hard thing to tune, just because players have so much access to, you know, any tool or pack or vehicle, and so that just kind of blows balance out of the water. But just to answer your question, I'm not trying to give excuses, I do think we have imbalances. We try to have a scale, and Jack, actually, who's demoing in the back, he was actually pretty pivotal in helping me see toward the end of the game when we were tuning, hey, what's our damage output like on our characters? And our, you know, damage per second versus just raw damage output. And so he was really pivotal in helping us balance that. But I think some characters, you know, like Iron Man, for instance, he can fly, he's got ranged abilities, he's got good melee abilities. So he, out of the box, has a lot of advantages. So where we can try and tune him is damage output, but then you're also up against, well, what do players expect from Iron Man, right? He can't be totally weak. He's Iron Man, he's super awesome. So it's more, for me, it was more about being true to the character and looking at each character and going, look, I want to make sure that when you're fighting with this guy or playing with this guy, you feel like he's doing what you want, you know, and doing justice to that character. So yeah, we have imbalances.
It was more important for us to make Thor feel like Thor, the God of Thunder, awesome, than have it feel like, okay, well, maybe next to Jasmine, their combat, they're exactly, you know, so we wanted to, but at the same time, we wanted to explore that character expression, you know, well, what makes this other character, Jasmine, unique, you know, compared to Aladdin, compared to Thor, Captain America, and hopefully we ended up with something kind of in the middle that even though these other characters have unique mechanics, like unique mobility, like Spider-Man can web swing all over creation and get across the city in a fun, awesome way that a lot of the other characters can't, that there were still definite reasons why you would want to play these other characters.
Yeah, I think one thing that was important to me was that, for instance, you take Spidey versus Hulk. that if I am actually Spidey and I'm trying to fight Hulk one-on-one, that I have to fight like Spidey to do that. So I can't just go toe-to-toe and think I'm gonna, beat up Hulk. I've got to use my webs. I've got to use my web swinging and my, my agile dodges and things like that, and kind of do like nickel and dime tactics to fight Hulk.
And we tried to design a lot of our combat with enemies around that. So we'd have different experiences where Hulk is just this big AoE angry monster who it doesn't matter how many grunts you throw in there, he's just gonna smash them all. Spider-Man maybe has to go bam, 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 hit them all real quick, faster attacks, more single target attacks. So we wanted to create reasons why you would think of them differently and use them different in different situations.
Is that answer? Cool.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. All right.
You guys, I've been a big fan of the toy box since way back in Toy Story 3, so I don't know if you guys were on the team back then. But my family and I really like the toy box, and you guys have talked somewhat about what I'd call maybe more structured parts of the toy box, mimicking other types of games, things like that. And I was surprised that we really liked some of the more free-form aspects of the toy box. Building, and I was hoping we would see this expand more into even more freedom, even kind of heading into a Minecraft-y direction, if that means anything to you. So I just wondered if you guys have seen the toy box evolve in that way, and if it is more free-form, what you're excited about as far as that goes.
Yeah, I think if you're into the freeform stuff, the new stuff we've added for 2.0 is really good. One of the key things we added are these builders, where you can place down a little townsperson, and he'll just build you out a treehouse, and it's all randomly generated. So you can. One of my favorite things. So it's like if you jump into an empty toy box and you just want to horseplay with your friend, you just maybe build like 4 tree houses in the corner, and each have your own, and like immediately just done like that. And we have like a little agrabah town builder. We have all these sorts of these builders, and also like rail slides were a lot of fun. Just building them, but they're a little bit tedious to place together. So now you just say like, oh, start here, end here, and it will build like a random cool one. So I think with that, it just makes it so if you're the type who just wants to get into like a random fun world, like Minecraft, and just like pal around with your friends, then we totally, like that really helps. And the other cool thing is when it builds it out for you, it's all building it with the actual pieces. So you can then like go and delete little particular ones or turn them around or change them to a different skin set or whatever.
We wanted to make Toy Box just a lot more accessible. So whatever you wanted to do, we wanted to take what we had in Infinity 1 and plus it. Make it better, make it easier, make it more intuitive. And that's where a lot of these ideas came from. So the user interface is cleaner, is easier to use. When you're building, things are snapping together more intuitively and easier. And then we have like these builders and a whole lot of stuff. We added a lot more customization options. We added interiors, so you can have at any point a door that opens into an interior space that is totally your space. You customize that however you want, so it's kind of like a portal to your own different space.
And what's cool about that too is I think you can chain those spaces. So it's essentially like hooking up level loads, but I think they're pretty quick.
Yeah, right? Super quick.
So like if I want to just freeform have my interior space, and I can customize that. You can even go as far as creating your own experience for players or for yourself that chains an interior level to an exterior level to another interior, I believe, which is really cool. It opens up the options for how you can build in the game.
It's really cool to hear that you like the freeform gameplay, because that was really kind of like the grand vision of it, was just like a bunch of kids playing with toys in their room, And we've tried to add, checkpoints and people to talk to so that you can have more structured mission stuff. And we have twice as much of that in Infinity 2 as well. But I'm totally with you. I just love building out and messing around. And it's really fun with 4 people in there all building at the same time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. So we unfortunately, we don't have too much time for questions, and I apologize, but we do want to get some of the swag out, and we're going to get to some trivia too. So I'm going to do one more over here, and then we'll do this, and if we still have time, we'll hit more questions.
But stay in line, because that's